Alright, CNT140. We are working on our horizontal cabling lab that kind of coincides with our Chapter 3-4. So let me show you where all the materials are to get started. On the Chapter 3-4 part of D2L, we're going to scroll down to the section on Do, and we're actually looking at the section on Online Lab. I'm going to open that up, and there's a couple resources here that we need to be aware of. We will need some of these things for later in the lab, so just kind of pointing out that those are here. And then here is the direction page. These are the two files we need to kind of get going. This is the direction page. If I open this guy up, it's actually a Google Doc. It might be handy to actually do a file download on this as something like a PDF. That way you can put it on your desktop and have it as reference. Or if you're like me, I have two monitors, I will put this on one monitor while I'm working on the other one. That way I can follow along with the lab as I go. I've actually done that ahead of time. Here is that lab as a PDF, and it's ready to go. Again, if I were doing this in real life, I'd actually slide this to maybe my second monitor, but I want to show you everything I'm doing, so I'm going to leave it here. So there's my lab file. The second thing I need is I actually need the packet tracer file. So I'm going to scroll down here a little bit. Here is the packet tracer file. When I click on this, it's going to give me a window that says, hey, do you want to download this? And I will. I will download this file. Once I've downloaded it, I will actually open packet tracer first. And once I have packet tracer launched, I can do a file open, do the file open thing here, and pick this file out of my download folder, if you will, and open it. Okay, I want to use what I've created for you. You're not creating anything from scratch on this one. So download this file, open packet tracer, and then open this file. Do a file open on this guy. Okay, that's what we need to get started. These other links are going to come in handy later in the lab. All right, so I have my lab file here, and I have my packet tracer file here. So let's take a look at the lab file. What we're doing is we're going to work with some horizontal cabling. If we were in the lab room, we'd be looking at the cabling above our head. We'd be talking about that cabling, and then eventually we'd pull that out and put new cabling in. Well, since we're doing remote this semester, the next best thing is I'm going to have you do it in Packet Tracer. There's an option for you to actually do horizontal cabling in Packet Tracer. So what we have to remember is what is horizontal cabling, and it is actually the cabling that goes from the closet, from the equipment rack in the closet, out, above the ceiling, down the hall, into a room to an outlet on the wall. And that's the cabling that stays there in place that workstations can plug in and unplug from. Okay, this is one picture that some of you might remember from 120. I'm going to scroll down a little bit further. I drew this other picture to help you see horizontal cabling as well. Here would be the equipment closet and the equipment rack in a wiring closet. Horizontal cabling goes from the patch panel in there. It actually punches into the back of the patch panel, up the wall, above the ceiling, down the hall and cable trays, down the wall and into an outlet box on the wall of offices and classrooms and that sort of thing. And this allows a structure of cabling that we can plug computers in and unplug, move our computer to the other side of the office and plug it in, or move it to this side of the office and plug it in. This horizontal cabling is that structure that stays in place in commercial buildings, in schools, in office buildings, that sort of thing. We typically don't have this at home because we don't need that. Right now I'm sitting within arm's reach of my router at home, so I can literally just take a patch cable and plug into it. But that's not the case in a large commercial building or a school. We actually need this infrastructure of horizontal cabling in place that we can plug and unplug from as we move computers around the building. So we're going to focus on putting this horizontal cabling in a building. Hopefully that makes a little sense. Okay, so I've downloaded the lab file. Again, I've downloaded the packet tracer file. I've opened that along with my lab file. So here's the lab direction page. Oops, get out of here. Here's the lab direction page. And I've just kind of scrolled down here to the second page, if you will. And then here's the packet tracer file. Now, one of the first things that might encounter is when you open my packet tracer file, it might be on the logical tab. Well, pretty much this whole lab, we're going to click on the physical tab. I do not want to see the logical. I actually want to see the physical this time. And I think right here in the first section, I have you do that. I wrote directions here as a just in case. So after opening it, I'm going to click on the Physical tab, Home City Corporate Office. So Physical tab, Home City as opposed to, maybe the Boston office or whatever. Corporate Office, so this is showing basically, a floor plan of a building. And now I'm looking at the floor plan of the building, and I'm actually seeing the wiring closet with an office over here with a couple computers, an office over here with a couple computers, and we have like 4 offices down here with a couple computers. So we're now looking at the physical layout of the building, and we are going to work on cabling that. That's what we're going to do. So the first part of this lab, we're going to focus on doing the horizontal cabling in this building. And again, the horizontal cabling goes from the patch panel, the closet patch panel, out to the outlets. And it goes from the punch side, the punch down side in the patch panel, which we're going to do a little bit later this semester, and goes to the punch down side, if you will, of the outlet, which again we're going to do here in a little bit later this semester. So we want to connect all of our outlets back to the closet with this horizontal cabling. That's what we're going to do. Now, what I tell you to do here is after doing that, zoom in on Office 1, and there's notes in each of these offices to help you. So I'm going to use this little plus sign up here. I'll zoom in maybe like 2 times. Maybe 3 might be easier to see. And you'll notice in this office, Office 1, if I scroll down here, you'll see I have this called Office 2, Office 3, Office 4, just for some kind of reference, okay? So in Office 1, we are going to connect the punch downs on the outlets to the patch panel punch downs over here in the closet. And I'm telling you what ports to use. Okay? So in here I'm trying to give you designations of what ports I'm going to use where. And you'll see as I look down here, ports 4 to 7, ports 8 to 11, and so forth. Okay? So pay attention to these notes to help you keep organized in what you're doing. So I have you here say, okay, this outlet box in Office 1 is going to get connected to this port on the patch panel over here. So here's what it's going to look like. I'm going to click the connections. I'm going to click straight through because all this cabling is straight through wiring. I can click on the outlet here, and I'm going to click on, you notice there's 2 sides. There's the punch down side and there's the jack side. The punch down side is the side we would terminate with a punch down tool. The jack side is the side we would plug a patch cable into. Well, we're not doing the plug a patch cable in thing yet. We are actually terminating to the punch down on the back of the outlet. So we're going to say, okay, punch down 0 here is going to get connected to, well, I'm going to click on the closet over here. And I'm going to click on the rack. And in the rack, I have a patch panel. There's patch panel, power distribution, switch, and server. There's 4 different things. So I'm going to click the patch panel. And I'm going to go to not the jack, because that's where I plug a patch cable into, but the punch down. So this is connecting port 0 here with punch down port over here, 0. And I'm going to repeat that for the other 3 connections. Okay, so straight through cable, punch down 1, click on closet, patch panel, punch down 1. Punch down 2, go to the closet, rack, patch panel, punch down 2. And over here, we'll do punch down 3, rack, patch panel, whoops, getting ahead of myself, punch down 3. This office, the horizontal cabling from this outlet to the patch panel over here is done for this office. So what we did in Packet Tracer is we did this. We went from the outlet here, ran the cabling down the hall and into the closet and into the back of the patch panel. That's what we just did for that office. Well, we have a couple more offices to do. So we are now going to repeat for Office 2. That's what we got here. So I'm going to scroll down. And actually, I'm going to zoom out just a scotch so I can see. Okay, I'm going to go from Office 2 down here up to the closet. It might be actually a little easier if I zoom out just a little further. I'm going to click straight through, click on the box, punch down 0. This is punch down 0. Each one of these boxes is going to be 0, 1, 2, 3. That's all right. Punch down 0 here to the closet, to the rack, to punch down 4. Okay, and that's what this is trying to show you here. The outlet 0 is going to go to punch down 4 on the patch panel. Outlet 1 is going to go to 5. 2 is 6, 3, 7, and so forth. Okay, so straight through again. Punch down 1. Rack. Punch down 5. Punch down 2. Rack. Punch down 6. Punch down 3. Rack. Punch down 7. We now have 2 offices connected. Okay? So that's how we're going to do the horizontal cable part of this lab. I'm going to pause the podcast for just a minute. I'm going to continue all my connections, and I'll come back when I'm done with the connections so you see what it looks like. Okay? There's no sense you sitting here watching me connect all of these up. So I'm going to pause, finish all my connections, and then resume. So bear with me just a minute. Okay, and I'm back. I continued through until I have all 4 connections in each office cabled back to the patch panel in the closet. And there is my horizontal cabling in this building. Now, just as a side note, in real life, the cabling in many cases would actually come out in the hallway, down the hallway, and into the rooms. It would be more of a kind of a right angle thing, out in the hallway, down the hallway, and into the rooms kind of deal. So this is showing a straight line. But as we start connecting into the closet and looking more, you'll see the cabling come into play. All right, so there's the horizontal cabling part of this lab, of our packet tracer part of this lab. I'm going to come back with a new podcast and start doing the patch cables.